Hello, my name's Jason and welcome to this very special episode where I will show you how to do this. Use this picture as a guide to create an impression. So we're going to do an impression of this in paint. Yeah, that's what we're going to do, and it's a style I enjoy painting in, and it's quite bold to do, but there is some ways to rein yourself in when you're doing this style because it's very easy to lose it. I should know. I have been kind of a bit wild on paintings before, but this way, if you watch me doing this one, then it should help you with yours if you're looking to do this kind of style of painting. And so let's have a look at my palette. It's not a palette though, it's just an old tray, and it's funny because people always make a big deal out of it for some reason. It's just a palette is just something to put paint on. I mean, whether it's a piece of wood or what I've used many a time is the plastic on like a canvas. You know, when the canvas is like wrapped with this plastic, it makes a good surface. I've used that as a palette many times. So yeah, I'm using this tray. Use whatever you want, and these are the paints I've got. These are the Artisan water mixable paints. You could do this painting with other paints. It's just the ones that I like and I'm used to using at the moment, so these are the ones I'm using. But like I said, you do this with other paints. Don't feel like you have to have Artisan water mixable oils. It's just what I like. So here we go. Here's my colours that I've picked. Now I've looked at the image and I've thought to myself, well, I need a red, definitely. There's pink here, there's red here. What red do I think I need? Straight away I thought cadmium red deep, because it's very close to that red. I mean, pretty close anyway. And also I've got some alizarin crimson, permanent alizarin crimson, because sometimes things need crimsoning. And we'll see as the painting progresses, because I can see crimson in the wood. Whether I paint that wood, I'm not 100% sure yet, but I do see the crimson in there, and maybe that's more crimson-y than the red. I don't know, but I know I'm going to need some, so I'll put them in. It's here. Then I'm going to need a blue. Obviously, this blue in there. There's blue in the leaves. But then I'm also thinking the green that I'm using has got blue in it, the Viridian green. It's a sort of a turquoisey, greeny colour. Yeah, my colour science is pretty bad. I go with ish. Ish is a lot. Anyway, so we've got the blue, French ultramarine blue, and we've got some Viridian green. And we just have to look. We know we need blue anyway for that. And we know there's a bit of blue in that green. Whether we need some actual blue for that to make it more blue, I don't know. Probably not. Could probably make it with Viridian green and a little bit of brown and yellow. Well, that's what my eye's saying. So I've got black. I always have some black. I have ivory black. Some of the darkest darks like there, that's going to be black. So I'll use some. And of course I've got some burnt umber, because I always find when you're doing leaves, obviously using green and yellow, it's going to be too bright, and yellow and blue too bright again. So if I use a bit of burnt umber to dull the colour, or sometimes I use black, it's going to get more close to the colour that's there. That's if you want to paint it with the colours that you see. Okay, that's my intro waffle. It's best if we just get to it and see what happens, really. So first things first, what I would do in this situation is I would consider what I could lose it on, and straight away I think to myself, well, I'd probably lose it on the watering cans. I'd probably just go all out. So to rein myself in, and this is what I'm talking about, reining yourself in, is one way of doing this is put the painting next, the picture next to you where you're going to do your painting, and a very simple way to get things started is to use a brush and a ruler. Yeah, I use a ruler, and get a little bit of this white paint. Now you could use a bit of charcoal or pencil or whatever, it's up to you. And what we're going to do is make a few marks to help us out with the drawing. I won't use that brush. It's got a bit of green on it. Should always clean your brushes better. Right, so I've got a little bit of water on my brush, a little bit of water, get a little bit of this white. Okay, it's only a little bit. And I've got to think to myself, right, do I need to do a full drawing? Not really. I could probably paint, because we want an impression. We're not doing an exact like replica of this. So it's about, I get about 4, so put a mark there. And how tall is it from the bottom of the canvas? This is what I do. Start measuring. About 13, about there. Yeah, 13. So we've got like that. And then we've got this angle here. Sort of like there. And then here, this is about here. You see, the reason I want to do this is where I can imagine myself losing it a little bit. What I mean is, I would think to myself, oh, well, I can just paint that, I'm fine. It's about there. And then I might get a little bit too rough with what I'm doing. So this way, just reins me in a touch. Can start measuring things, like 3.5, about there. Because when you're doing impressions of things, you still need to get the shape about right. You could do a tracing if you wanted to help you out, or do a drawing. Sometimes they do that, do a drawing on the actual canvas. What I'm doing now, it's quite rough really, but because I've made a couple of measurements, it gives me a bit of a better chance to get something that looks similar. Okay, but we can change it and develop it as we go, of course. Always can do that when you're painting. Like the flowers and things, am I going to do it exact? Probably not. I just want the impression to be right. Okay, let's move that over there a second. I could do with a measurement actually of the distance of that. 24-ish. A bit of a measurement of the distance of the watering can, the top part, and that's 17. A bit more. So this angle, this is another thing I do. Show you this. Bring this back here. I do this. Have my brush going along the angle of that there, and then when I come here, I can get that angle in. There. Something like that. So that's not a bad shape. Can do that angle as well, thinking about that angle. And like I said, we can change things as we go. And then got the other watering can. Do we need to draw that in? We probably do. Let's be a bit stricter with ourselves. We want to keep, like I say, rein ourselves in a bit. So you would approach this similar, even if you was doing something more realistic than what I'm going to do. You'd do this sort of thing. I do anyway. There's not an exact way to paint something. There's ways to make it easier on yourself. So it's 3.5 up. Let's do that handle. Almost 6, about there. Whoops. Yeah, so I need to hold it as I paint so it don't fall off. So we've got that and that bit there. And that's sort of there, and then that goes down. Handle about there. So we're just putting in the basics, and it's a good time, this is, because this really does decide how good your finished picture is going to be, really. Just going to measure this. Just measuring the handle to there. 14.5. It should be 6. So actually, that should be more like here. Actually, I don't know how I messed that up. But that's okay. It's okay. We can get rid of that. It's good to make our mistakes now. Now rather than later, anyway. Just put that back on there a second. So we can see this bit is about that big, and the handle comes up there, and then sort of that sort of shape. And here's the handle there, about there, and that goes down like that. Yeah. That's it, that's it. So that's about there. We want to create that ellipse there as well. It's one thing I found when I was doing like pots and things. I never got these ellipses right for some reason. I never really took enough time looking at them, I suppose. Like that one. think we could do with a measurement. Just measure in there. It's about 16. About 16, so we're about here. So, okay. And then don't forget, oops, I really need an easel on this side as well. Make things much easier. And then what I need to do is think about that angle of where that is. So that about there. Okay, I need another measurement. What I need, I've got 21 and a bit along here. That's where the end of the thingy is, about there. So put that back over there. It's annoying. Right. A bit along. Okay, so this which is distance of that about 20. So we're actually not far off. Something not right. That goes to 17 here. Yeah, so that should be there. And then there's 6 centimeters in here. So about there. So that means that should be there. Yeah, something like that. We'll go with that. That's not too bad. Like I said, it's not going to be an exact replica. We're trying to get the feel of it all. And then we can change things as we go. It's the something I learned a while ago. I always find it exciting to learn from master painters and other people. Just other people, just not me. Learn from other people, and it's amazing. And anyway, they were saying that, right, we'll not mess around with that. Yeah, they were saying that don't paint your reference. Your reference is a guide, unless you want to do a photographic looking picture, which you might do. I've done something like that before. Unless you're doing that, then don't worry about the reference too much. It is a guide, and that's all. It's not the piece of art that you're going to create. Anyway, so there we go. There we have some guides for our watering can. We're talking about guides. And now, what would I do next? I would start looking at probably starting to bung some colour down now, and I'm thinking the red watering can would be good to get started first. So let's get some of this cadmium red deep. Some of this out. So first thing is, you know this red's too red. I can see straight away it's a bit too red. So let's get some white into the red. Now I'm just going to hold it up. So yeah, it's still a bit too red. Let's get some more white in there. Hold that. It's pretty close. I figured it would be pretty close. I mean, it's slightly redder than that, but I'm okay with that. So let's have a look at it on the board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow this line. I'm going to get some of the pure red as well and put it with it. Start putting some colour on. So white and the red. And I'm putting the paint on quite thick. I'm not going to blend it much. Got this shape here. That's really just about getting things started now. Some colour. Some nice red there and under there. Now there's some darker areas which we can introduce. So I see this stage as kind of like constructing what we want, and we can use brush strokes to develop it. And so we just fill in a little bit. And there's some areas that's more white. And there is another area that's dark. So I'm going to start by doing these light areas. We just start filling in the colour. I'm going to get some white in with my red. Make a nice lighter pink. See if it's about close. It's close-ish. It's not exact. So now I'm thinking this area here. Just put some of this light in there. Using your brush strokes. Trying to feel the brush strokes when I put them on. I enjoy painting in this manner. Trying to get a sense of the object using brush strokes, which is what I think we're trying to do here. Okay, now looking at it, just want a bit more colour down there. Oh, I forgot to mention, And the reason I've covered the canvas in a brown is to stop any really bright white spots showing up. I don't like when you have a white canvas and you're putting strokes on like this. Sometimes you can see the bright whiteness of the canvas, and I really don't want to see that. Okay, so we're building things up. Now I want to develop this a bit more. Putting more and more paint on. What I need to do is try and start creating that mark. So what I might do, get a little bit of black, I think. This is ivory black. It's a bit dark. Yeah, I like that. So we need to start putting some of this in some of these areas. It goes around like that. There. Okay, and then there's a dark spot there as well. And if it's not dark enough, get some more black in it. Darken it. Okay. Underneath here, put some of it in there. Just sitting back, having a look, seeing what needs changing. I can see another dark area is at the top here. Put that in. Another one here. This is using your colour while you're on it. While you've got it on your brush, you might as well use it. Just wipes this brush on this bit of. It's actually a baby wipe I'm using. A little baby wipe. Just wiping it. So I get some more of this white and pink. Now I see a few highlights that need bringing out, like along that. And there's one that goes down there as well. A bit more white. Okay. Along there. Bit here, bit there. Bit more light. See a bit of light there as well. Okay, it's just sitting back, having a look, seeing what I like, what I don't like. This shape needs to be straighter. I can see that. Okay. This needs a bit of a stronger colour there. And there. Bit of red there. Okay, sitting back, going for this middle tone again. This middle tone, we can run that along here. A bit of the brighter red here. Okay, just sit back, have a look. And we're starting to get somewhere. Some of the shapes are not quite right, and like that's not quite there. So we'll work on that a little bit like that. There's a bit of a roundedness here. Get some bit of red there. But that's quite a good start for us. Yeah, it's a good start. Happy with that start. I might leave that out, that weird thing. I don't really need that. I can see we need more light spots like here and here. So just put them in. And there. And there. Bright spot needs to be there. Okay. Yeah. So we can carry on with that as the painting progresses. We don't want to get bogged down yet. We want to carry on. So we need to start thinking about this colour now. The bluey colour. What I'll do is I'll grab the knife and I'll move this red over here. And there's lighter colours there and that darker colour. Go up there as well. So then we can use our palette again to mix a new colour. And this is what I tend to do. I try and keep myself organised. Try and keep the palette ready to work, and I try not to worry. This is the other thing when you're painting, is you can worry about what you're doing, and you start thinking to yourself, oh no, this isn't working the way I planned, and then you can end up giving up too soon, because in the end you might do a really good picture, but you need to have a little bit of patience. And I've got a red finger from wiping my brush. Okay, that's better. Right, now we've got to look at these. Straight away I can see it's blue. Of course it's got a little bit of a sort of a greeny look, a greeny blue. So let's have a look. Let's get some white, some blue. So sometimes I'll do it like this. Yeah, definitely has a greeny look. Get some cadmium yellow. There was a while where I didn't bother checking my colours. I would just guess all the time. But checking your colours, it makes a difference. I like that. It's not exactly the same, but I do like it a lot. Need more colour there. A lot more. Oops. Get some more blue. So that's blue, ultramarine blue, cadmium yellow and white to get that colour. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. we'll do a light area because it goes to about there, doesn't it? The lighter colour. And then it goes darker underneath. So we'll have to make sure we do that. Whoopsie. Goes to about there. Start looking at the overall shape of it. I do like this blue. I really do. Sometimes the colours that you use, I don't know, they look so good. A bit of white in my colour. It's quite light on this as well. Get some of that blue in there. Up to there, I think. And it's a darker blue then, isn't it? I think the shape of that would be more like that. Hope that looks okay on camera. Okay, I'm just picking up some white in my colour. I'm going to do this bit here, so it's lighter. So we get some white and shape. And that's lighter there. Circle your bit. Always sort of sitting back having a look. It's the best advice I ever got. Always sit back, have a look. Okay, and now we need that darker colour there. Just use this brush. So what have we got in that dark colour? Oh, we could use black in it. Oops. So the dark colour, well, before we do that I might use this black just to put that hole in there. Might do a bit more in there as well. Doing that. Just playing a bit there. Right, so that's now there, and that's there, and that goes around like that. Something like that. So let's get some of this black in with this blue and yellow. Do a side mix. This is what I call a side mix, is when I have my main colour here and then I put the dark right there, so then I could just make a side mix. And then we have a look and it's too grey. Needs more darkness than that. Just look at that. So that's not bad, actually. It's quite a good side mix. Try to oops. Try to paint without knocking the painting off. I've knocked a few paintings off the easel. Luckily, it usually happens when I'm not filming, when I'm just painting for fun. But this time, okay. Just putting some masking tape behind it. Hold it in place. There we go. That's better. That's better. Okay, let's get some of this colour again. So we've got the shape there. Rounded shape like that. Like that. That's good. I like that. Nice shape that is. It goes underneath there as well. While we're at it, I'll use this on this handle there. And there. Okay. Quick wipe the brush. Wipe the brush on a bit of the BB wipe, and then grab the paper towel and give that a wipe. Just wipe, knocking off the excess paint, and then we can go back into this colour again. Oh, nice mix. And let's start bringing that down. Okay, I like that. Now we can get our other brush with the red. And what I want to do is I want to bring that red right up to that, like that. A bit of that white and okay, now then, now what do we want? What we could do with doing is that bit there, and it's sort of a bluey, it's this colour. It's about this colour anyway. Sort of a blue, actually it's more greeny than this. I kind of like it, so that'd be alright. Got that dark in here. And then there. Okay, I think that'll do for those. Now I think we should start putting some of the leaves in, and that pot actually. That pot that's behind would be good to be done. That pot there, sort of a orangey colour. So let's get some yellow, cad yellow. That's what I see. Cad yellow and this red, I'm thinking. Make a nice orange. And then we just need to dull that orange down with some burnt umber. Let's try it out. Red, so that was cadmium yellow, cadmium red deep, and burnt umber, and we're a little brighter than that still. Not bad. I'm going to go with it. Let's have a look. Yeah. It's there and it's in there as well. And it's behind here. It's a tiny bit brighter than there. And you can see some of the pot here. There and there. Okay, and then there's some more pot colour over here. Can put that in sort of there. A bit darker than that. Okay, I think that'll do for the background pots really. Now then, what we need now is we now need to start putting these leaves in, and also the flowers. Okay, so I decided to get myself a quick cup of tea to keep me going. It's when you're painting, you want to have little breaks and go walk around, come back to your picture, and then make decisions again. Because when you're continuously painting, you can get lost in your picture, and then some of your decisions are not quite as good as they could be. So I like to have breaks. Have a cup of tea. Right, let's looking at the ground now. I was going to throw the leaves in, but I can see that the ground needs doing. We need to get it in. A little bit of burnt umber, I think, and some white. Some white, titanium white, burnt umber. Now we've got the watering cans in, we can start to move a little bit faster. Well, not too fast. Just a bit faster. I want a browny colour. And burnt umber and white. And I want some black in it as well, I think. Let's just see what that looks like. Just needs a bit of black in it as well. A little bit of ivory black, a bit of burnt umber. Look at this. Yeah, that's about right. It's not the same colour. It's not the same. Whoops. But it's what I want. Let's just hold that a second as I go. Whip. That bit done. Base of that. How far does the ground? That there. This is good because we now start blocking it in, and we can start to make things look better using this shape. Brown and black, brown and black. The old back and forth trick. That means you can go back and forth with light and dark, or colour and no colour. So I've got a little bit of white on now, because then we can develop this a bit more. And we can keep that darkness underneath there. So I'm just blocking in. You know, I've said before, I tend to switch arms when I'm painting this side. I use this my lefty, and I'm painting the other side, I use my right. Because it's painting, it's not drawing, I seem to be able to do it. But I couldn't do it as if I was drawing. Make sure there's some lines going across just to make that more obvious that it's flat. And along here as well. Okay, sit back, have a look. We know we need this area in here dark, so let's get some more black. Some more black. Some of that on the brush, and this is dark under here, so let's make it make it so. And I want some darkness under there as well, under the watering can. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm going to bother with the slab lines anymore. I might just leave this as it is, as just ground. Okay, let's move that back like that so we can see it better. And yeah, that looks alright. I think that looks alright. Now what we need to do is start thinking about the background as well. So I see that as like a crimson in with it, with the same colour, the same sort of black and brown with crimson. Let's have a look. Black and brown and crimson. Bit of white. Yeah, it's about right. Black, brown and crimson makes our background colour. Let's have a look at that. So again, I think what I'll do is I'll block some of this in. I'm not too worried about the boards. I'm not going to bother with the boards. That's something you can choose when you're doing your painting. I'm going to sort of have a look at the where it would how far up the greenery is, and we'll put some of this in it, in the background, and then some of the leaves will go over it. That'll be okay, because we're going to use more paint on the plants than we are on the background, really. Sorry, I couldn't see that bit. I was just putting a bit more of this colour on around this area. I've left an area where I know I'm going to have one flower. Some more colour in there. To about here, I think. And we can make a decision where we want the plants to be, using the reference, of course, but because we're an artist, because we're an artiness to us, we can do whatever we like. Of course, I'm going to use the reference as a guide to what I want to do. Get some more black in that. About there, I think. Some more brown. Into about there. So something else to think about when you're doing a painting is you've got to think about the framing of the painting, and what you'll find is a good portion, like say that much, will be behind the frame edge. So what I try and do is think of it as like a border, an invisible border around your picture when you're doing it, because I've made the mistake before doing the painting and having whatever it is I'm painting butting right up to the edge of the canvas, and guess what happens? You end up putting the frame on and ruins it. So I'm doing this all in one go as a painting, but you could do this in sections if you wanted. Okay, just rubbing this paint into the corner. Okay, I'll have a bit of this colour in here as well. Okay. That'll do. That will do. So I'm just looking, I'm thinking, well, before I go too nuts, I could do this shape there. That shape's not quite right to me. So like there. Like that. That doesn't look like it's attached. Using a little bit of baby wipe there just to make it right. A little bit of a light colour. Okay, that looks better. A little bit anyway. One of my biggest problems actually as a painter is I really like other people's paintings, but I don't like mine as much. They call it the artist's curse. You never like your own work as much as you do others, because you can see you've spent time on it and you remember it, and it's kind of strange really. One thing I can guarantee though, the more you paint, the more you will like your work. You will like it the more you do it, because you'll get better. It's just it'll never look as good as someone else's, because it's painted by them and not you. Just one of those things. Anyway, let's move. We need to get some space on this palette. I think what I'll move now is this blue, this dark blue. Go there. This light blue. Go there. Right. What we need to do now let's make a green for the leaves, which we need to get doing. Okay, so the green is Viridian green. I know it's Viridian green. Brown. So it's burnt umber, Viridian green. What brush shall we use? I like that brush. Get this red off it. Okay, so we've got some green and brown, green and brown. Viridian green, burnt umber. Get a bit of white in that, just to see what it looks like. Sort of an olive green, that is. And I think it needs a bit of cad yellow here I can dip into just to so that's like, yeah, that's not bad actually. That's a good base colour for my leaves. It is a good base colour. And then what I might do, let's have another colour with less brown in. That's there. That could be a nice highlighty colour here. Okay, so let's get started with this green. Let's do the impression of some leaves here. We're doing an impression, remember. So, where do you start when you're doing something like this? That's a good question, isn't it? You start where you mean to go on. So I'm just looking at the leaves, looking at the shapes. And I could start seeing other things I need to do as I'm doing it. Like there's a greyish colour here. Sort of greyish blue. Totally off there. I ended up making some sort of a pinky colour. Just has like a bit of a pinky look to it for some reason. I put that colour in there anyway. I quite like it. And grab a little bit of the white and just a straight line there. Yeah. Might put a bit of that on that one as well. Anyway, let's carry on with some leaves. Putting some leaves in, aren't we? Another leaf there. Another leaf. There. Quite a lot. Sort of looking at it as a whole as well. So what I need to think about is the flowers as well. So the leaves, get the impression. So I'm just putting this dark in places. And then the more I do, the more I start feeling the painting, I suppose. Gonna get some of that other green, the lighterish green. Some more of that colour. Get a bit more of that lighter green. Thinking about the leaves. Sort of looking at the shapes, the overall shapes of things. Okay. Getting the shapes going. That's the pink flower there, we'll leave that space. Some space for leaves there. Another flower shape there. Some there, got that quite high. More flowers, more leaf shapes. Okay, just sit back, having a look, and look at the whole thing, thinking about where the leaves are. It's quite a lot, of course. What we need to do is think of it as an impression rather than thinking every individual leaf. We want to do an impression of them in the end. Okay, just sitting back, having a look. I think we're getting somewhere now. Some areas there's a bit of a pinkiness to it. I'm going to pick some of that up. Use this biggish brush. Okay. Just sitting back, having a look. Now what I'm going to try do. Okay, we need to move some of this colour. Something I want to do now. Start adding some flowers. So I want a little bit of yellow. And I want some white. Now I'll use that brush. Don't want to use too small a brush. Oh, actually, that one would probably be better. Yeah. Tiny bit of yellow in with my white. So it's slightly off. Okay, now then, let's start looking at the flowers, and we'll put in some colour. We're using quite a lot of paint now. There's one there. I'm going to pull the paint. Got one here. Lots of paint. Lots of paint. And quite light pressure. So the paint comes off nicely. Get a dot of that yellow. Another flower there. Lots of paint, remember. It's the way I'm doing it anyway, quite a lot of paint. Another one. Pick out the flowers that you want to put in. A little bit of yellow in that. All white. Yeah, there's a flower that goes. There's one there. There's one on the ground there. There's a bit of a petal there as well. A petal there. A couple of petals there. Sitting back, having a look. See where there's more flowers. There's a few nice buds as well. They've got a bit more of a yellowness to them. A few little buds. Another one there. There. There's a flower here. Remember, I'm using quite a lot of paint. I'm not being stingy. view there. Okay, just sit back, having a look, seeing what's developing, seeing what you could do. There's a few petals that are coming through here. I'm sort of going over the whole picture, looking for a bit more white there. Okay, I want to get some lines in here as well. Need some line. Get a bit of this pink and white. Pink and white. There's a line there. Line there. One there as well. Get some of these stalks. They're growing. It's almost the same pink as the watering can. There's another one here. Let's get some white. Let's put it in. A bit of colour, a little bit of yellow. Nice bit of yellow. Yellow. Bit of yellow on that, yeah. Bit of yellow in that. Bit of yellow on that. I want to be stingy with my colour. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. But it's okay. Happens. Like I said, usually not when the camera's rolling. Never mind. The reason I don't have my easel locking the canvas in is because it casts a big shadow over my painting. And I don't want a big shadow over my picture, especially when I'm showing painting. So anyway, where did we get to? We were starting to put in some line, wasn't we? So I want these lines. These are sort of a reddish greenish colour actually. Sort of a, yeah. Sort of that, a reddish greeny colour. And we'll start putting in a few of these branch type things. It's probably a little too bright actually. I want it to be a bit darker. That's probably more like it. Let's put in some more. Where have we got some? Oh, we've got some leaf there. Let's get that leaf in there. branch in there. Branch here. We've got some over here. Still trying to get an overall effect rather than doing like a realistic picture. There's elements of realism, I suppose, but what I'm trying to do is do an impression of what I want. Just sit back, have a look, see if we're getting somewhere. Yep, starting to come alive a bit. Need a few more of these. I want this flower in as well, so let's use this brush. So I want this pink and white. So where have we got that flower? It's about there. A few more of these in. Got one over here. There's one up here as well. Use a bit of colour and then use a bit of light to simple brush strokes as well. Simple strokes of like, there's the shape, there's the shape, there's the shape, there's the shape, to create the flower. Up here and down here there's a couple. Okay, just sit back, have a look, see if we're still on track. Yeah, we are. That needs another one there as well. It just needs a bit more help. I quite like the way this one worked. That's nice. Yeah, it's not there. Other shape there. Yeah, okay, quite like that. Let's get some more of this light colour. I saw yeah, there's one in here that I quite like. Okay, sitting back, having a look at what we've got. That's what we need. certain areas I think I could need more leaf. We can work on the leaves a bit. Like that. I don't want that to be like that, so we can put that back there. Okay, just sitting back, having a look. So what I need to pull out now of the picture is some of the leaf shapes, and I need to finish off some of the background material. And then I think this painting is almost the impression of the watering cans and plants, getting to the point where I can do a few finishing touches. Okay, just sit back, having a look, sitting back, having a look. Just sorting that shape out a little bit, and thinking about this bit here. Just wanted a little bit of light on that. Okay, let's start working on these leaves then, because that's going to make a difference. Big difference. Right, let's have a look. We could do with some bit more of this cadmium yellow here, and white. And what brush should we use? Should we use this brush? Light green, just make a mixture there. So we've got green, yellow and white. What we want to do is start bringing out some of these leaves with this. So like this leaf here. Pull this leaf out. Certain areas are lighter. Another one over here, something. Okay, that's better. I think we're using too small a brush for these leaves. Okay. That's better. Feels better with this brush. I was going into flower mode with the other brush. So yeah, we've got a bit of that leaf there. Okay, yep. leaf. It's a bit of a shape there. Pull a little bit of colour there, a little bit here. A little bit there. Leaf. And got a leaf there. On just looking at the basic shape of it and okay, there's a bit of light in that leaf there, and there's a bit of light in that one as well. Just looking for the light really. Okay, just sitting back, having a look. Sitting back. A bit of dark in there, where that leaf is, and we've got this leaf here. Might put one in there. There's a bit of a shape there. Bit of colour. Bit of colour. Okay, there looks to be some pinkish areas in some of the leaves. Like in that one, some of those. Some of these. Okay, just sitting back, having a look. I think we need a finer brush. Oops. Okay, I'm going to put on a little bit more cad yellow. What we need now is to bring some of these leaves out a bit more with a bit of detail. Not too much, just a bit. I've got some yellow and white and with this greeny colour. Now we've got the leaf. You can see the sort of shape of it. Another one. A bit of that green colour. that leaf there. Bit of green. Needs darkening a touch as well, actually. That bit. And I'll get a bit of this light. Just need lining a bit, that. Bit of colour in it. Same with this one as well. You can see the sort of line. Just to create the impression. There's another one there. A bit of light. There's one you can sort of see. See the crinkles. Okay, just sit back, have a look. Can you see it? Is there any more leaves that you think you can bring out a little bit? I think there's one there. Just sort of bring them out. Okay, got one here that sort of has sort of a roundedness to it. With my yellow and white again. Okay. A light there. That leaf has got pretty big actually. It's another one sort of there. It's something like that. Just sitting back, having a look. seen what we need to change, what could do with improving. Could see like a leaf there as well. Needs darkening. Okay, sitting back again. Getting a bit more of the pinkiness to it on some of these ones. Okay, so sitting back, having a look, always sitting back, having a look. Some of these can be just done simply, a bit more simple. Some of them have got a bit more detail. Okay. Maybe this one there. Yep, and one there, and that leaf. A bit of a shape to it there, and then this one. That. Some of them, like I said, you can kind of develop with a little bit of shape, and some of them have got a bit more detail, and kind of helps in the sell of the idea that there's a lot of leaves. Bit of yellow. And I'm constantly sitting back though and having a look to see if I need to change anything. Okay, now at a point where I'm thinking, what can I do to improve things? What do I feel needs changing, or what can I do in general to the painting? And the first thing I notice, so I could do with a bit of dark colour. Dark line there. Get a little bit of white. And go on this bit here. This is the point where it's little details. A little bit there. A little bit there. A little bit there. And there. And there. Okay, sitting back. This brush is too small. Especially when you're doing impressionistic picture, you don't want a tiny brush. So having a look now, thinking to myself, what do I need to do to improve it? And there's a bit of a line there that needed adding, a bit of a line here, here. Create a bit more of a shape there, a little bit of light down that there. Sit back, have a look, decide a bit more light there and along there. Creating the whole effect now, looking at the whole picture, wondering what needs adding. I think to when I look at it, I could do some of this stronger red in with this here and there. Sitting back, having a little look. Could I change anything? It's possible need for this is just something that I see, more of a, not something that possibly is there, it's just something that I feel is possibly needed. Needs to be a bit more of a bright green. Yeah, very light green. It's quite strong. In certain areas there. And there. And that area. There. There. Bit here. There, yep. Some on that leaf. Yeah, and then I can see like red. Parts. Okay, just sitting back, having a look. This is not quite right here. I'm going to create that shape there. And that can be more specific. And I think it needs a bit more light as well on that. Okay, sitting back, having a look. Okay. Okay. Yeah, sitting back having a look. I think I'm about done. It's the impression that I wanted to create. I wanted to create something that said flowers on watering cans. And using my image as a guide, a reference guide, not as specifically I need some more colour. As I sit back and look, I can see it needs a bit more yellow here and there. So let's get some of this pure yellow. Put it in. If you feel like you need a colour, you best put it in. It just needs a bit more of this yellow. In places. Okay. Maybe there. These are just little finishing touches, really. Okay, just sit back, have a look. I think I'm about done. Yeah, I think I'm about done. Sitting back, do I see any more bits that I want to do? Any things that I feel like could be developed a bit more? Maybe there's a bit more light there and there. More there. Okay, sitting back, I can't see anything else that I want to do. I think what we've created is what I wanted, an impression of a couple of watering cans in front of some flowers. And can't see anything that I want to specifically do now. I think I've achieved what I wanted to achieve, and I hope it's helped you out. I hope it will help you do something similar. I just want to develop some of these leaves a bit more, actually. Okay, just needs a bit of dark in it. But as I keep adding more and more, I know I could go on forever and ever doing something like this, but you got to get a point where you think, well, I think I'm about finished. I think I've achieved what I wanted to achieve in this painting, and hope you enjoyed this one. I'm going to give it a bit of a signature in the corner, and I'll call this one finished for this episode. And I'll use a dull crimson, I think. Crimson with a bit of brown in. And I'll just stick in a JB in that corner. See it better using the white. Yeah, so thanks very much for watching this episode. I hope it gives you an idea of what you can do in a couple of hours. And I hope you enjoyed it. And this is Impressionism in my way, anyway. And I, like I say, I hope it helps you out, and hope to see you at another episode. Cheers, bye.